Okay, now what would the next...
The driver's seat.
The driver's seat.
Yeah.
Now, the driver's seat, there's a lot that you could explain. What are some of the things that we can explain when they're inside the driver's seat? Now, keep in mind, whoever the car is for, whether it be the wife or the husband, or if they're sharing the car, you want to put that person inside the driver's seat, the other person inside the passenger seat. Okay? When you're showing a vehicle, and this is big for guys, if you're showing a woman a vehicle and she's sitting inside the driver's seat, you never want to reach across her, okay, due to sexual harassment. You want to kneel down next to the customer if they're looking at a car, okay, and kind of point things out, even if you want to get one of those laser pointers, so this way you don't have to reach over the customer. That makes customers feel uncomfortable. Even if you're a man showing another man a car, you still don't want to reach across them, okay? So, what are some of the features, advantages, benefits that we could say inside the front of, inside the driver's seat of the vehicle?
Cruise control,
Navigation,
seat belts,
volume control,
MP3 options.
Right. So now, what is a benefit of an advantage or benefit of having the volume controls on your steering wheel?
You can keep your eyes on
safety.
no hands off the road.
Right. You keep both your hands on the wheel. What about automatic climate control?
You can automatically reset when get in the car. You already have it set up.
Right, kind of like central air conditioner. So if you're comfortable with 71 degrees, it'll stay 71 degrees. You don't have to adjust the fan all the time. Dual climate control. What's the advantage of that?
Everybody's happy.
Right. If your wife is cold and you're hot, you can set your side to cool. You can set your wife's side to heat, and everyone's happy. You want to go over a six-disc in the CD changer. That's great because you don't have to, every time you want to skip a CD, keep on loading more CDs.
Yes.
You could load 6 at a time and just keep on replaying. MP3 players, you want to go over because that's big on technology. Also, Bluetooth you want to go over, which is a hands-free device, and it's state law in most states. So that's what you're going to want to go through. Now, you guys have down, the necessary accessories that come with the car. But you definitely have to explain the advantage or benefits and put it inside real-world situations. You have to make the customer be able to visualize what they can use that purpose for, okay? Same thing like a sunroof. What could you use a sunroof for?
Well, if you're a smoker, it's an ashtray. You can ash out the sunroof, I guess.
Okay.
Dangerous.
Takes me off when they do.
Okay. I mean, you could, depending on your report,
Yeah.
but what else?
Circulates the air in the car so that you're getting fresh air and not...
Right. During the summertime it's
stuffy.
great because you could open it up and get circulation. During the wintertime you can turn the heat on, put the tilt on, and also get circulation in the air, so this way you don't have to keep on circulating the same air inside the vehicle. Alright? The seat belts, safety is major. You want to go over all the airbags, whether it has front, rear, and rear side airbags. That depends on the vehicle. You're going to want to know that. Go over airbags. Also, the engine compartment has a sensor inside the computer module. Depending on how bad of an accident you get into, will judge the speed that the airbags deploy, which will reduce risk of injury to the driver because the airbag just won't pop out. It'll slowly come out, so this way it reduces whiplash. Also inside the seatbelts have a sensor, depending on the speed of the accident that you get into. The seatbelt's just not going to stop and you're going to get whiplash. It's going to kind of go back and it's going to slowly retract you. That's going to give you reduce an injury. Okay? At that point, what are you going to do next? After you've shown them all the features, advantages, and benefits of the vehicle.
Test drive.
Test drive. Now, when you go for a test drive, right, what's the one thing that you do not want to do?
Talk too much.
Before the test drive. Remember, it's an emotional thing buying a car. A lot of people are not going to want to get emotionally attached and want to test drive a car.
You gotta make the consumer love the car and make them love you in the same way.
Right. Well, if you have a demo line that they have specific cars that they use for test drives, you're not going to ask them if they want to go on a test drive. You're just going to say, follow me. You turn your back and start walking away, and they're going to follow you. If you do your walk around right, and they're following you throughout this whole process, that means that you have control. Control is key. You have to have control of your customer, kind of like having control of a dog. If you don't have control of a dog, he's going to destroy your house. If you have control of your customer, they're going to do anything that you want, right? I used to have competitions when I was a sales manager. Whatever salesperson would be able to, on the test drive, pull the car up in front of the showroom so everyone could see, run around the car 3 times, honk the horn, I would give them $50. If you get a customer to do that, you have control. That's all I ask for. Have control of the customer, okay? So you're not going to ask them for a test drive. You're just going to say, follow me. You're going to have the keys in one hand, dealer plate in the other hand. You're going to go up to the car, put the driver, whoever the car is for, inside the driver's seat, put the passenger inside the passenger seat, you go in the back seat. On the test drive, right, you're not going to talk too much, you're going to talk a little bit. But you're going to say what type of things.
Nice horsepower, huh?
Sure, it's spacious in here, isn't it?
That's a lot of yes and no questions.
Handles nice.
You want to ask a lot of yes questions,
Yes,
not
yeah,
no
no,
questions.
yeah, that's right.
And every time you ask a question, you always want to shake your head. Because you're in the back seat. They're kind of like bobblehead dolls, right? You start shaking your head, even if they're thinking no, they start shaking their head yes. Okay?
That's what we used to
So
call
you-
it, the bobblehead effect.
Right, so you want to get as many yeses as possible, but you also want them to enjoy and get the feel for the vehicle, so this way they make sure it's the right car for them. Now, you're done with your test drive, you pull up in front of the showroom, what do you do?
You let the customer come into the showroom and have a seat, and then you go park the car.
And you go park the
where
car
you
correctly,
park.
exactly where you got it from, and put the keys back on the rack. Correct. Now, after that, what do?
You get sheet?
You fill out your guest sheet. Now, your guest sheet, you already have their name, right? Now, how are you going to get their last name?
How do you spell your
How do you
last?
spell your last name?
Correct. Okay. Now, what are you going to do for the address?
Don't pick
Keep
your
your
head
head
up.
down and
Yeah,
ask them
keep
for the
right.
You're going to
address.
keep your head down, and you're going to say, "What's your address?" What's the most important phone number to get on a guest sheet?
Cell
Cell
phone.
number.
Business next.
The second is the business. Email. Major importance to get an email. How are you going to get an email address?
There's a special, I would like to be able to communicate with you and this way you
Or
can
in case you
benefit
don't
from
purchase
it.
today.
Right. Just in case things don't work out, or even if you do buy a car today, service always sends out specials. We're not going to fill your inbox with emails every day,
Yeah.
but just in case, and this rarely happens, you want to say this rarely happens, just in case you don't buy today, if an incentive comes out and we're only separate apart from a couple $100 and we get an extra $1,000 rebate that no one else is aware about, including the general public, wouldn't you want to be the first person to know about it?
Yeah.
And they're going to give you your email address, okay? On the next column, it's going to have trade information. Even if they're not trading in the car, do you want to put what kind of car they're driving now?
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely. You always want to put that, because that'll show the manager their buying habits in the cars. If they have an 02 and it's 2011, obviously they keep their cars for a long time. If they have an 09 and it's 11, they don't keep their cars for a long time. So that's going to determine that. So even if they're not trading in the car, write it in and just write NT over it for no trade, so this way they can see it.
Gotcha.
If they are trading in a car, then you want to do a full trade evaluation, meaning an appraisal. We'll get into that later on, but you know, ask them how many miles are on it. You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how would you rate the body and the condition of your vehicle that you're currently driving? Okay?
Accident history.
Right. Then, on the bottom line for the new vehicle, what would you put?
Stock number.
The stock number,
Year, make, model.
year, make, model, the
Options.
right. You
Whether
put
they're
the options like if it's an SES or an SL or whatever it is. Okay. If they're looking to lease finance,
Or pay cash.
Light, dark, choice, the choice.
Light, dark.
First, second, third, and fourth.
right? Like, okay. So let's get back to that. Right. You ask your customer, do you prefer lighter or darker colors? I want darker. What are you gonna say?
Give me a first choice.
No, you're gonna say, like a black,
Right. Yes.
like a blue,
Yes.
like a green.
Yes.
Okay. Like a red.
Yes.
Awesome. Terrific. Now you got 3 or 4 color choices. Some people aren't going to be that easy. They're going to be very specific. They're going to say, no, I did all my shopping. I want the white. No problem.
Yep.
No problem at all. Okay. You just want to keep on moving, but you want to get as many color options as possible because you want to sell what you have in stock. Now the next thing on a lease, right? What's going to be the other thing that you're going to want to ask?
Well, you want to know what term they're looking for, and how many miles per year they're going to drive the vehicle for.
Exactly. How many miles a year do you drive? Now, certain cars have different programs. So your managers, even though someone might want to lease a car for 36 months, it might be cheaper to go for 39 or 32 or 24. So they'll kind of guide you in that, but you definitely want to know how many miles they drive a year. Okay, and you also want to let them know what the mileage penalties are so they can make an educated decision. They might say, well, let me see the difference between 12 and 15. Now you want to be an advisor because you want to assist your customer. You want to say, well, based on the information that you provided for me, it's only an additional 15 cents a mile if you go over. But the payments are going to go up quite a bit. So why don't you save that money? You more seem like you drive about 11,800 miles a year. Go for the 12, and if you have to pay extra, you might pay extra. But even if you're about to go over mileage, we could do an early termination on your lease and get you out of your car 6 months early, and you don't have to avoid any penalties whatsoever. And continue with that. So after that, like I said, tomorrow we're going to go into the negotiations, but your manager is going to give you a pencil, which is the numbers. You're going to negotiate. Then what are you going to do?
Close the deal.
You're going to close the deal, right? Now, when you close the deal, you're going to get all your paperwork together. You're going to give it to the finance manager. What are you going to do?
Take them to the service department if you have that time, downtime, things are getting worked on.
Take them to the service department, and also when the car is getting prepped, get insurance. Okay, while the finance manager is working on the financing. Now, the customer comes out of finance, deal's done, car's paid, contracts are signed. You put the license plates on the car. What are you going to do next?
Go back
Go
through
over
the car.
You're going to go over the car in depth. Also, when you have your downtime, you're going to have the 6 a.m., 6
And
FM,
their address.
right, 6 a.m., 6 FM preset stations. You're going to say, Mr. Jones, I just have this form that I want you to fill out. This way, when the car comes out of prep, I'm going to have your favorite 6 a.m. and FM stations pre-programmed for you, okay? Also, on the bottom is 3 lines. Just, a lot of my business comes from a repeat referral business. Maybe not necessarily someone who's in the market right now, but maybe a friend of yours that you give me the number to that I could just touch base, introduce myself. You're going to be speaking to them. You're going to tell them that you had a wonderful experience, so that this way they just know that I'm here for them for any type of need that they ever need, whether it be parts, service, or sales. I could service them fully for anything that they ever want. Okay. Now the customer leaves. You also want to set their what?
Address.
Their address inside the navigation base. You have it on their guest sheet. Then you're going to go over everything in detail, okay? Customer leaves, what are you going to do?
Call them, their house phone,
Leave a
cell
message.
phone.
Right, you're going to call their house phone as soon as they leave the dealership, thanking them for their business. If there's any questions that they thought of on the drive home that you didn't answer for them because it just never came up, you're here for them. If you don't have their home phone number, you send them a text message. Now your next follow-up would be in how many days?
48 hours.
48 hours, 2 days. Now when you call up in 48 hours, what are you going to say?
How you doing? I just want to make sure that the car's treating you good and see that you don't have any questions now that you've had it for a little while, and let you know that I'm still available to you should anything come up, or should you have any problem whatsoever. I'm still available to you, same as I was before you bought it.
Correct.
Look forward to hearing from you.
Right. And then as for your referrals.
And then you follow up on the referrals again.
And then as for referrals again. Referrals are huge. A big part of your business is going to come from referrals. Referrals have a better chance to sell than people who walk in the door. The more referrals you get, the more cars you sell, and the more money we all make.
Absolutely.
Okay? That's basically the gist of what we went through this morning. So we're going to continue with a couple more things. You could